Hey everyone, if your computer's running really slow, you might have checked Task Manager and spotted the CPU usage is really high, or even this maxed out at 100%. Now, some tutorials online tell you to do random things like set the number of boot CPU cores to 8 or whatever, but that has no impact on system performance. So I wanted to shoot this video and discuss actual useful things you should do to reduce CPU usage. Before we start though, you should create a system restore point because we'll be modifying various Windows settings, and it's always a good plan to create a backup point that you can always come back to just in case something goes awry. To do this, hit the Windows key and search for restore point. Select the create a restore point option and then click create in the window that appears. Enter a name and click OK. Windows should take less than a minute and confirm the restoration point was created. Great. Now we can start speeding up your PC. The first thing to check is your Windows power mode settings, especially if you have a laptop. And that's because laptops tend to have various power saving settings to save battery life, but these can slow down your system a lot. Hit the Windows key and search for Control Panel, then search for Power and select Choose a Power Plan. From here, select an option like High Performance or Ultimate Performance. This will allow your CPU to run at its full potential and not be artificially held back to save on battery life. Next, click Change Plan Settings and go to Advanced Settings. Expand out Processor Power Management and ensure that the maximum state is set to 100%. Anything less than this will again hold back your CPU, which is not ideal. That previous step can help a lot, especially on a laptop, but the second thing to check is what background apps are running. Windows 10 and 11 have quite a lot of bloat behind the scenes, including running various apps that you just don't really need. To check these, search for Settings and then click into Apps and then Installed Apps. If you don't recognize something on this list or use some of them at all, then click on the three dots on the right. And if they have an Advanced Options setting, click this and then scroll down to the Background Apps section. In the drop-down, choose Never. And this will effectively stop the program from running next time you restart your PC. Unfortunately, it does take quite a long time to go through all of the bloat the Windows installs by default. But this step can be really useful, especially if, for example, you never use the Xbox gaming features on Windows. It's just worth turning that off, if so. The third thing to check is your startup apps. These are the programs that start up automatically when your PC first boots up. Sometimes programs insert themselves into this list even though you barely use them. These programs then run constantly, draining your CPU. So from the same window, click Apps to go back and then go to Startup, although you can also access this feature from the Task Manager. Check through this list and disable anything you don't want. For example, in this case, I'll disable GOG Galaxy here because there's no reason for this to automatically run every time I turn my PC on. The fourth thing to check when you have high CPU usage is whether all of your programs are slow or just a single one. I remember when I first tried doing video editing on my old PC, and DaVinci Resolve was really laggy. I'm not sure why this happened because DaVinci is a quality bit of software, to be honest, but it just seemed to hate my old PC. If just a single program is slow for you, then try and see if there are any updates available for that program. Maybe you just have an older, buggier version. Also try Googling around a bit and seeing if there are some settings to change within the program, because these might make the program run faster. But if all else fails, try and see if there's an alternative program to use, just like how I ended up using Premiere Pro instead of DaVinci Resolve. The fifth reason why your PC might be slow is if it has a virus or malware. Unless your PC is brand new and has always been slow, a virus is a likely cause for a slow PC. There was a time when it seemed like everyone run proper antivirus programs, but nowadays many people just rely on Windows Defender, which can be okay, but certainly not perfect. I would download something like Avast, Kaspersky or Bitdefender if you haven't already, and run through a full scan. This might take some time, but it will be worth it because it can either catch or rule out any suspicious programs that might be running on your PC. Ironically though, the sixth reason why your PC might be having high CPU usage is that antivirus programs suck. Yes, I know that I just picked them up in the last point. It is worth having an antivirus program installed, but you should only have one installed. Don't try and mix and match them. It can be a bit like mixing bleach and chlorine, they just don't work well together. Equally, some antivirus programs like Trend Micro and Norton can slow down your PC a lot, especially when running a full system scan. You could try temporarily exiting your antivirus and then ignoring the warnings that appear, and see whether your PC is now faster. If it is, download something like Avast instead, because that's one of the fastest virus checkers. The seventh thing to try can be especially important if you have really slow performance when gaming. Windows has something called HPET, and this can sometimes slow everything down, especially when gaming, so it's worth disabling it and seeing if that helps. To do this, hit the Windows key and search for Device Manager and open this. Expand out System Devices towards the bottom and then scroll all the way down to High Precision Event Timer. Right-click this and disable it. Restart your PC and see whether the performance issues go away. Many gaming benchmarks actually show a clear improvement in FPS, frame rates, after disabling HPET. Number 8 is to check for pending Windows updates. Search for Updates and then click through to Windows Updates and trigger a manual check for any pending updates if it doesn't do this automatically. While installing updates can slow down your PC, ironically, your system slowness might be down to a genuine bug in Windows or a driver, so getting everything updated can help a lot once it's all installed. Now, it's worth diving into Task Manager because for the 9th fix, you should close down any programs that are using a lot of CPU usage that you don't actually use. Right-click the bottom of the screen and then click on Task Manager. Then in the sidebar, go to Processes and click Show More if you're on an older operating system. This will list all programs and background apps that are currently running on your computer. You can then right-click on a program and stop it, which can speed up your PC, but you should only do this if you know for sure what the program is. For example, killing Windows Startup application is not good, because ending that process could just crash your PC. However, if you spot a program that you installed and it's using lots of CPU, then ending this process could be a good idea. The 10th fix involves reducing some of the fancy visual effects that Windows 10 and 11 introduce, because these can cause some PCs to get laggy. To get started, click Settings and then Accessibility. Click into Visual Effects on the right and then disable both Transparency Effects and Animation Effects. Use your PC for a few minutes after this and see if it's any quicker. Of course, it won't look as flashy anymore, so if this tip does help you, then you might want to re-enable one or two specific visual effects that you like, and then check whether they impact the performance. This will involve some trial and error, so I'll put details down in the description about how to do all of this, but it's worth reviewing it. Next up, number 11 is that if your CPU usage is too high, mainly when gaming, it might just be that your PC's hardware is just a bit too slow to fully play that game at the current graphical settings. Thankfully, pretty much every game allows you to go into the settings and reduce the graphical quality and maybe the resolution too. For example, playing a game at 1080p, not 1440p, will be easier for your PC to handle, meaning the games will also be faster. Also, reducing or disabling certain graphical effects like anti-aliasing and motion blur can really help to improve performance and speed things up. But naturally, this will make your game look a little bit less smooth, so if you don't want to reduce things too far. Number 12 involves getting physical with your PC. Laptops and PCs will have little vents all around them that allow fresh air in and also out, but if these get clogged up with dust, your PC's thermals will be higher and this can impact performance. So clean out any dust by gently using a flat vacuum cleaner end that doesn't insert anything into the PC itself. Also consider opening up the case if you have the skill to do this, and clean out any dust gently using something like compressed air. This will literally blow away all the dust and it can work really well. Following on from this, number 13 applies more to desktop PCs. A well-designed computer will have a number of case fans. Some of these will take new air in, and some will expel that air out of the case. If your case has some empty slots where a case fan could be, then your poor performance might just be down to insufficient cooling. So consider buying new case fans and hooking them up, or taking your PC to a repair shop so they can do this for you. Equally, if your computer is 7 or 8 years old, you might need to replace the TIM on your CPU. This isn't a simple job because you have to actually remove the CPU cooler, clean out the old TIM, and then reapply the new one. But I'll drop some links in the description that shows how to do this if you're experienced enough to attempt this. Getting new TIM and improving your case fan's configuration can really help to cool your PC, driving up system performance. Number 14, if your PC is still quite slow and your CPU is a little bit outdated or just struggling with new programs or games, you might want to consider overclocking it. This is where you tell your CPU to run faster than its original instructions, possibly by sending more power to it. So this can be a bit of a minefield. And you should only do this if you actually know what you're doing. But overclocking a CPU can make it run a few percent quicker, which is a nice free boost. Some PCs and laptops come with overclocking software within them, such as Intel XTU or AMD Ryzen Master, although programs like Part Control and CPU Tweaker can also help you out here. The exact process for overclocking will vary depending on your CPU and the software you're using. You'll usually want to increase the frequency, speed that your CPU runs at. If your PC crashes, you'll want to increase the voltage that is supplied to your CPU, or drop the frequency back a bit. This method does involve a lot of trial and error, but it can help for sure. My 15th tip is to consider reinstalling Windows if your PC is still slow after all of this. A decade ago, reinstalling an OS used to take ages, requiring lots of different install DVDs to get all the programs and drivers back. But nowadays, you often just need to boot back into the original install media, like the boot USB, follow the reinstall instructions, and then you're back up and running, and Windows will automatically install the majority of the drivers for you. You'll then just need to re-download the programs that you tend to use the most, for example, Microsoft Word, Steam for games, or browsers like Chrome and Firefox. The benefit of a full reinstall is that you're starting fresh, and any weird background programs, or even viruses, that were draining your CPU will just be washed away. However, my last fix, if your computer is still way too slow, is that you might just need to upgrade or exchange your PC. Maybe you purchased a refurbished system and it has faults, in which case you should look to refund or exchange it. But if you've had your PC for many years, it might just be time to either upgrade various components within it, like the CPU and the RAM, or buy a new computer entirely. Sometimes software moves on and requires faster and faster computer systems, so unfortunately upgrade can sometimes be needed. Okay, that covers all 16 tips from me. Hopefully this has helped you out, but if anyone can think of any further tips to try, please leave a comment. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do click the thumbs up button. This tells the YouTube algorithm that more people should see this video. Please also consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and thanks for watching.